The American Constitution in Emoji. It wasn't always yellowed with age. At a certain point in history, it was a cutting-edge document. The framers, the old guys who put it together, spent a lot of time and effort writing and revising it based on the preeminent thinkers and philosophical writings of the day. As a young country, we fought a war over its core ideas of self-determination and fair representation. There was a time in history when no one had seen a document like this one before. You might say that's cool and everything, but it's just a piece of paper, right? I mean, in a tangible sense, the Constitution can't really do anything. It can't educate a population or provide universal health care, so why does it matter? Why should we care about it? Maybe hard questions like these keep you up at night. You might ask how the Constitution affects your life, or why it's such an efficient means of governance. Well, let's answer those questions together, so you can rest easy. There's a fascinating dichotomy at work in the Constitution. It's what some might call the beating heart of the document, if you will. It's the core element that allowed it to be so influential right at the beginning and maintain that influence through the present day. We will call this force the tension between positive and negative power. To define those terms really quick, negative power is freedom from something. In contrast, positive power is the ability to do something. As we all know from grade school, the Constitution sets up the three branches of the US government. It says explicitly what they can do. That's the positive power we talked about. And there's a reason for it. The state needs a powerful body of rules to determine what it can do, how it can provide for the citizens. But that power needs to be under control. The framers of the Constitution took an approach from game theory when they were writing it. They put a series of checks and balances in place to ensure that no one branch had too much power over another. And what's more, if it's not explicitly laid out in the Constitution, that branch of the government can't do it. If they decide that they can do it anyway, we have what's called a constitutional crisis on our hands. And that's not really fun for anyone, except maybe the constitutional lawyers who have to adjudicate such matters. In contrast, the Bill of Rights, the other half of the Constitution, is a list of things that American citizens have freedom from and protection from. Those are negative liberties. Rather than enumerate all of the distinct liberties that a citizen has, and by extension the different things that the government has to protect, the Bill of Rights says what can't be infringed on. For example, American citizens don't have to quarter soldiers. They also don't have to moderate or censor their speech based on government doctrines. The lasting power of the Bill of Rights comes precisely from these negative definitions of liberty. Because we lay out the rights we want to protect in the Bill of Rights, we can update it as time progresses as well. There have been amendments to abolish slavery or give women the right to vote, and so on. Let's consider a possible future where sentient robots participate in our society. They're as smart and as numerous as we are, but they don't have political agency. We could, in theory, provide an amendment to the Constitution that gives robots the right to vote or even become president. I, for one, welcome our robot overlords. All jokes aside, this dynamic tension between positive and negative forces is what really allows for resilience on the part of the Constitution. If we didn't have such a clear and direct definition of the way government would be set up, and the interplay between the different branches of government, our government wouldn't be as strong. This means we wouldn't be able to get as much cool stuff done. The massive infrastructural projects that happened in the 20th century wouldn't have been possible without a strong central government. Conversely, if we didn't have that negative definition of liberty and the ability to grow and change that definition over time, we wouldn't have as many of the rights and privileges that we hold so dear as citizens. And we wouldn't be able to adapt our system of governance to new ideas, major political or ideological changes in the world. You keep hearing me say liberty. Let's hold up. What does liberty mean? Liberty is the ability to act freely in society, without oppressive restrictions governing what you do. Essentially, it's freedom. The establishment of that dialectic of positive and negative power within the Constitution is such an amazing tool. It allows for a strong central government that maximizes individual liberties. And if either of those key ideas doesn't play out in the way we would expect, we can improve our country's principles over time, growing them to fit our needs through amendments. That's why America is so frequently referred to as a grand experiment, because of this constant process of iteration and improvement. Ultimately, that's why the Constitution is still relevant today. It's our history, sure, but it's our future too.